So I have made these videos 5 minutes each so that you can understand it easy and in short videos instead of giving you boring long videos. So that is why you'll see multiple videos. Most of the sessions are not more than 5 minutes. Okay. Okay. So the next question that the interviewer may ask you from Apex class is what is constructor? Now constructor, especially if the interviewer is from the Java background or the C sharp background, he will definitely ask you. He or she may ask you. So all of you know what is a constructor. If you don't know, the constructor is a method with the same name as the class name. Okay, the method gets invoked when an instance of the class is created. Okay, now if you don't create it is an optional to create an constructor inside your class. If you don't, Salesforce will inject a constructor if you don't create one with empty parameters. Okay, constructor parameters can be overloaded. This is part of polymorphism, object oriented programming. So that means you can have a constructor. If you see now public class method 1. So the constructor is public apex method 1 without any parameter, and the second one is initiated with a parameter. So which will be invoked when? So if you say that, if you see the second last line, if you say Apex method 1 AP instantiate the class object without any parameter, then the first one will fire. The second one, if you initialize with second with a parameter hello world, the second constructor will fire. A couple of rules are there can be no return values for a constructor. Okay, so keep these things in mind. And a constructor is initiated when you create an object of that class. Now, what are static and instance methods? There are two types of methods you can create inside a class. The static keyword and variables can be invoked directly by the class name. You don't need to instantiate a class. What I'm trying to say is, here we are saying Apex method 1 AP new. This is instantiating. But suppose if you have a static method, you don't need an object of the class. You can just say class dot method name. Whereas instance method requires instantiation of a class object. And then you can call the instance method via the object dot method name. Okay, so this is the key difference. Before an object of a class is created, there are some rules with static. All static members and variables will get initialized first. Okay, so just remember that even if you're creating an instance of a object of a class, static members will always fire, but they will be initialized. Okay, usually static methods are used as utility methods. Let's look at an example. So here we have a class with two types of method. First is the static method with the keyword static. So public string, static string get message 1. Here we are returning a value. And the second one is a normal instance method. You don't have the static keyword there. Okay. So we say public string get message 2. Same, return the value. So if you want to call the static method, only class name is required. You need to say only utility dot get message 1 and then the static hello world will be returned. But if you want to call the instance method, you have to instantiate the class. You have to say utility class, this whole new utility, and then you call the message. So that's the main difference. Then only this is an instance method can be invoked. Now, what is an interface? Now, interface contains method, another very important object-oriented concept. Now, interface is more like a design standard. It's like a class with methods without any implementation of the body. It contains only the method, return types, and the parameters. It will not contain the implementation. What you want to write inside, you have to implement it in a separate class and use it. So you have to implement the interface method. You have to extend that into your class. So this Apex allows multiple inheritance in interface. Interface will be like, it will just contain the method. So if you want some required methods that need to be part of any class, so you can some design standard. So you can add it in interface. How you want to that person to implement depends on that application. So if you look here, so we have created an interface called as purchase order, and it has got one method signature called as it returns double and no parameters. So now this can be used in multiple ways. One implementation says for customer implement the purchase order. Once you implement the interface, you have to implement all the methods of that interface. There could be multiple methods inside this. So you have to implement all the methods. So here you are implementing, now you are giving it a body, you are saying public. And what is the discount? Here for customer, it is 0.5, okay, in this class implements. But for employee purchase order, what you are doing here, see, you are giving a more 10% discount. So this is the key difference.